to you all this afternoon. Gary Tippets joined United Way as the Director of Transportation of Utah County in 2020. He currently manages Utah Valley Paratransit, Utah Valley Rides, and the Digital Inclusion Program. He loves working at United Way because they provide services that create a positive and lasting impact throughout the community. Before his tenure at United Way, Gary worked in the retail industry for over 20 years, where he managed multiple storefronts in Utah and Idaho. Throughout those years, he was continually recognized for being a top performer in sales, customer service, and employee retention. Along with that, he developed a program called Build the Bench. This program trained new managers on successfully operating a retail store with a focus on seamless hiring processes and employee retention. Gary, was retail the hardest job you ever worked? It was?
Definitely.
Okay. All right, and we have Kayla Bradshaw. She's the Volunteer Center Director at United Way of Utah County. She understands volunteerism's role in connecting communities and works to create meaningful volunteer experiences. She's skilled at working with businesses, schools, and individuals to connect them to volunteer opportunities. Kayla, tell everyone what was the worst job you ever had.
I worked Parks and Rec for a city emptying the garbages.
Can anyone beat that? Anyone? No? All right, we'll get on it.
All right. I feel like this podium needs walk-up music or something. I did not come prepared with that. All right, so this is our roadmap for where we're going to go in the next few minutes together. We're going to talk about the volunteer purpose, the W's, which you're going to know, but I want to have some air of mystery and not tell you exactly what they are yet. And then we're going to create a volunteer description together. So let's start with volunteer purpose. Why do volunteers want to volunteer? What makes them wake up in the morning and say, that's something I want to do? Sorry, say that again? They're good people. They're good people. Yeah, there's something inside of us that wants to help. I would love more audience participation. What else?
Maybe they benefited from others.
Yes, they want to give back. Absolutely.
People need it.
Needed, certainly.
Something to do.
Something to do. Maybe they've got some community service hours. Maybe they've just retired and they have some time to fill. They're needing to feel valued. There's so many reasons why volunteers come to us. So then on the flip side, why do we want them to volunteer? Now I'm gonna grab the low-hanging fruit and say free labor. That's great, but if that's all we think about volunteers, then we're missing a lot. Yeah, what else do volunteers do for us? Outreach, oh certainly. They are skilled in their communities.
They speak on behalf of whatever organization or company they're volunteering for?
Yes, absolutely. Someone back here.
We don't have enough staff to do everything, so we've got to have volunteers to help out.
Oh, they are so needed. If you want to grow a program, you need volunteers. They bring expertise and leadership and skills that we might not have. And so we want to kind of marry those together. And when volunteers come to us, we're giving them a gift. Gary's going to go over recruiting for employment, but volunteers, we don't pay them. They don't get health benefits. They don't get retirement. But what do they get when they work with us? Satisfaction. They learn new skills. Purpose. Oh, absolutely. As people feel so lonely now, they build a community and a network. So asking people to volunteer is a gift. It's not a please give me your time. It's you want this. This can only enhance your life. Not always. That's fair. That's fair. But it is a gift to them. And so sometimes we feel when we're asking people to volunteer, it's can you please do this? And it's really hard, but really that they are going to gain something as we also gain something. So while we make our volunteer description, we just want to keep that in mind and have that energy with us. So how many of you are familiar with these birthday cards? Yes? This was the pinnacle to get one of these from your friends or to have your parent give these to you and be okay, you get to fill it out. This is what a volunteer description is kind of like. For your birthday, you go to your mom and you say, what are the details? What do I need? When's the party? Who can come? Where is it at? So that's the information that we have to collect before we fill out a volunteer description. So that's the W's. It's the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. So we need all of that together before we can fill out our birthday invite or our volunteer description. So I'm going to use Utah Valley Paratransit. I like real world examples. So we're going to make a volunteer description for them. So the who, we want individuals that are 18 years plus with a driver's license and a clean driving record. What, they're going to drive older adults. When, we need them Mondays from 9 to 12 or Wednesdays 12 to 3. Where, Provo Orem, and then why, to assist older adults, people with disabilities, and individuals with low income to expand their independence and community access by providing safe, reliable rides within Provo and Orem. So that information is crucial before we can build around it. Until we can answer these questions for ourselves, we can't then go ask other people to do stuff for us. Because we all want information. We don't want someone just to say, show up. And we go, why? What are we even doing? So the W's help us to get that all together so then we can build on it. So this is our volunteer needs description, our roadmap. We want to have a title, an opening line, opening sentence, our W's there in the middle, and then we'll end it with just a little bit more about our organization. So all of you are probably familiar with the story of Goldilocks and the three bears. Goldilocks is wandering through the woods, and she happens to break and enter into the bear's home and tries out their stuff. And in their home, she tries out the things, and like the porridge, it's too hot, or it's too cold, or it's just right. A title is just like that. When we create a title, we run into some risks. Will somebody read this for me?
Driving older adults around Utah County to get them to doctor appointments, grocery stores, senior centers, etc., while serving with Utah Valley rides.
Now, all of that is correct information. That's the right information, and it's information that I want the volunteer to have. I just don't need to they just don't need to have it yet. So it's too hot, it's too much, it's too long. When someone's reading through like a volunteer description, they're just gonna kind of pass on by because it doesn't grab them. But we also run the risk of going the other way and drive older adults, right? Drive them what? Drive them crazy? Like, what are we doing with these older adults? And so it also doesn't grab you. So that's too cold. So we want to find something in the middle. Drive older adults to services and resources. That's what I came up with. Is that the best one? I don't know. I need to workshop that a little bit more, but that's what I'm sticking with right now. So then after that title, we're going to have a first sentence that builds on it. So the first sentence, we want to add the timing of what they'll be, or when they'll be doing it, and then also kind of a little bit more about what they'll be doing. So I've added help drive homebound adults to appointments, grocery stores, and senior centers once a week. So I'm giving a specific ask to them so they know a little bit more about what they'll be doing. So I've grabbed them with the title, and then I've expanded it a little bit more, which then leaves the opportunity to add in our W's. We've already got them there, so we add them in. If someone has read this far, that's great, because now they're thinking, I want the details. I want to know if this actually is going to fit within what I'm thinking. And then to finish it, we want to give just a little bit more information. So that information, we want to add a little bit more about our organization, give it a little bit more validity, a little proof of why what we're doing matters and is important. And then also, if there's any other details they need to know, like is there going to be training, are there background checks, things like that we can add into this last paragraph. Because if they've made it to the very end, they have some interest, and so we want to give them the rest of that information. So then we put it all together, and this is what it looks like. Is this formatted the best? No, because it's a presentation. So what you want to do, go back, check for spelling errors, read it a bunch of times, use readable fonts, get feedback. I almost wish I had given you pieces of paper so you could write me feedback. I'd love help on the language of it. Does it read right? Does it look right? And then you're going to alter it to wherever you're going to post your volunteer needs. Whether it's a volunteer website or a newspaper or online, you'll just adjust it a little bit from there. Do you have any questions about kind of what we've gone over on this? I know that was really fast and short. All right, I was perfect. That is great. Okay. Thank you so much.
I guess switch it over. Recruiting. I know a lot of us have that problem, always finding new employees, new drivers, all that kind of stuff. It's an ongoing process. So, like my director says, I've been recruiting in different careers for a long time and trying to find a lot of front entry level employees. And it's hard, you know, because we can't pay them a lot. We're on limited budgets, things like that. So these are some of the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years that help. So, and the same thing is like to encourage you guys to make comments, things like that. So you find things that work for you, this is a good place to share it so we all can learn from each other and help. So these are my things that I've kind of learned over time. So recruiting websites. How many of you guys use those right now? Handful of you? Did they work? Sometimes on the site, right? So if you look on here, there is a ton. Right, that's there. So I went through and I kind of went through and said, I was just searching who has the best ones right here. So over here I put, these are literally the top ones that consistently across the board, if you just search, which are the best recruiting sites. Okay, so which one, this is where I want to ask, which sites work best for you guys? So I've tried them all. I think there's one here I haven't personally tried. I think I haven't tried Handshake, it's the only one I haven't tried. But which one works the best out of that group? Which one? Indeed's number one. Constantly, that's what I heard. At CTA conference, when I went to the same kind of recruiting class, it was Indeed. Indeed number one, especially if you focus on recruiting drivers, that was number one for Indeed. Okay, but don't forget the other resources. The big thing about these, they cost a lot of money. I looked at my Indeed account. The last month, my bill was $608. That's a lot. It hurts. But the trouble is the tips and tricks on Indeed, just so you guys know, you can pay per click, you can pay per application, but I'm really cheap on Indeed. $608 for all the application I got is actually really cheap because if you follow the rules and guidelines, they give you like a 48-hour window. If you clear them out before 48 hours, they don't charge you for those applications. So I call them, I text them, I'm really aggressive the first couple days, those first 48 hours. They don't respond, I print off their application, I set it off to the side, and hopefully they'll call me back. If they don't, I trash it, that's fine. But if they do call me back, I still have all their information. So it's a way to cheat the system, save yourself a little few extra bucks on that. ZipRecruiter, I never had a lot of luck on there, a little bit on there, but some of the other things I want to call out is, what are some of the free resources that we use right now that you guys use?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth? Okay. Okay, so I'll put a little TC on the bottom there. What?
Social media.
Social media? Okay, we're going to get into that. That's exactly where I'm going with this. Okay, so social media sites.
We have Bradshaw vehicles, recruit staff and volunteers.
We do the same thing. And that's how for our volunteer program, that's where we probably get some of our most referrals, people to see the vehicles. I want to try that. So it's great. So vehicle wraps, like advertising out in the public. So just don't be afraid of also other things. Sorry there.
I was thinking, like, back when I used to do some volunteer stuff, that UNA was a great website because people go to Indeed also for looking for jobs and things like that. You can go to UNA looking for jobs, but it's, the Utah Nonprofit Association, and so people are going to nonprofit going, how can I help? And that's a good place where...
Yeah, you get volunteer and get paid, which is a double win, So a big thing also to be aware of, there's, I know the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they have a great resource. They have like job boards up there for free. Okay. Colleges, a lot of colleges have job boards and in job searches, they let you post for free.
Handshake is the new college job board, and it's completely free.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I haven't used, so I'm not familiar with that one on there. So, but also, just be creative, like community boards, things like that. So senior centers, things like that. We've gotten a few recruits from our senior centers, putting up flyers, things like that. Even some of the grocery stores, I'm not sure they sell it, but some have bulletin boards up there. We have one down in Spanish Fork that has a bulletin board where people post stuff. Just be creative where you're putting those out. Be aware of community events. So they have, you have a tent at an event somewhere, you can put up job recruiting fairs. Like some of those things cost money, but look for those free, cheap ones that can give you a good return on there. So the next thing I'll focus on is some of the social media. Most of my emphasis on Facebook, just for the fact that that's where I've had the most success over the years. So the first thing about Facebook I want to talk about is because there's a lot of pages, a lot of things out there, but when I say post, you need to make posts from your own personal account. It's a personal choice, things like that, because people look at your Facebook page. Is it a real person? There's so much fraud there. People are always hesitant out there. So they're going to look at your Facebook account and say, is this actually a real person? So when I use it, they can see, my name, my family, all that kind of stuff. They can have all that information. So it's not a scam. Because trust me, you see, this thing's great. You click on it, like they have no friends. They've been online for 3 months. It's a joke post. So you're not going to get anything on there. So if you're creating a business account, what you can do, it takes some time for that to build up. So the thing is when you're creating a job post, I need to clarify that. So if you're posting on your personal account, you're just posting to friends and family. When I say post on account, there's pages out there that are already created. So like in Utah County, we have one called Utah County Job Board. There's Utah Jobs on there. So if you go to Facebook, there's a lot of groups out there. Okay, are you guys familiar with that? Is that something that's kind of new? Okay, so you have all the yard sales pages, all that kind of stuff. Look for those. But a lot of those things you have to get not invited to, but accepted into. So that's where it helps if it's your personal account. So if you're using a business account, they might not want you in there because they think you're going to be, trying to sell people stuff. It's like, no, I'm trying to post jobs, things like that. So get in there. So, but when you're doing the job post on there, make sure you're using compelling language. Don't just give facts, stats, things like that. It's hard to grab people's interest, especially if you see some of those job boards that are really popular. The feeds go fast. There's 20 jobs per day on some of them. Same people posting over and over again. So you have to make sure your job pops. So you get, things like that. Do you have a question, or you just?
In your experience with the whole thing of like social media, like how it's just so Facebook, Instagram, whatever, all that, how it's so, they say people when they scroll through it, it's like 2 seconds or something. A second.
Yeah.
It almost feels like, I feel, sometimes it almost feels like people are going back to the word of mouth and actual. There's some people that are like getting tired of that.
Yeah, there's so much information out there, so many pages. Because you go on your Facebook feed, you log in, hit refresh, 2 seconds later, it's a whole new feed. So the thing is, but you have to remember, when you're looking for a job, though, you're searching, you're scouring the pages. It's like when you're shopping for a car, you're looking, you're going to keep digging. I need a job, you're going to be looking for those sites.
The reason why I ask is because like how you were mentioning, and I don't know, when you're saying looking for jobs, because you said entry-level jobs first you were talking about. So, entry-level jobs, people, I think, when they're looking for that, it's kind of like they're zooming through it.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that's looking for a career, they'll take the time.
Yeah. So people are looking for entry-level. That's the thing is, what are you looking for, too? Right. And that's what your job postings like that to make it stick. And, it talks about here on the thing, I'll just kind of jump down, is update your post, it'll drop down. So simple thing like that. So if you have coworkers, things like that, is have make a comment. Hey, I love working here. Just have a little comment. So it's a positive influence saying, hey, listen, it pops it back up to your feed. Or you can actually just like the post. You can just hit the like button and it keeps it back at the top. So it's always doing that. And be mindful of the times of day you're doing it. Okay? So if you're posting this, Saturday at midnight, it's probably not the best time. Okay? So if you already have a job, when do you have the free time? It's after 5, maybe to 10, kind of like that time frame. Be mindful of when you're doing your posts so you get the best draw for those, for all the energy you're putting out there. But also be mindful, like, most of the time we're all done 5, 6 o'clock at night. So if you're doing posts, sorry, I'm jumping around on here, but engaging with your candidates. So when I was looking for jobs, that's when I was doing it. I was doing it at night, in the evenings, weekends. So if you're a hiring manager, do you want to be working at 11 o'clock at night? Let me tell you, I've done it. When I was looking for drivers during COVID, it was hard. Let me tell you, as soon as someone commented, if I responded within the first 5 minutes, they would respond back. If I waited till the next day, they ghosted me. So the term is, if you're going to commit to this, don't be giving out your personal cell phone. I'll recommend against that. But using the Facebook Messenger on there is an amazing little tool like that. It does notify you on your phone, stuff like that, but it's easy to block people and just not see them anymore. Okay, so keep in mind, Facebook Messenger is your friend like that and responding fast. I set up an interview, and I gotten like 2-3 candidates over the last that's about a year now, just through Facebook Messenger using that tool right there and responding quick. Everyone else who I responded, I delayed, I never heard back from them. So just be heads up on that. So the other thing is, make sure when you're posting this, throw in incentives for your employees if you can, or just have them be, people are invested. Make sure people are sharing your post. So if I post something on there, I'll be like, I'll ask Kayla, hey Kayla, will you share this post for me on your friends? Throw out there. I've done my last job, I throw out, hey listen, if you share my post, you're coming up to me and show me on your Facebook page, show it to me, I'll give you a $5 gift card. If you have budgets, I understand that, things are tight, but I literally have a stack of gift cards, I'm like, that's awesome, thank you. Like that, and so just continue to get into post that and keep it up top of the feed. So try to spread it out once again. The more they're liking it, the more sharing it, the more visibility it gets. So now I want to talk about the compelling job posts. Here we go. These are 2 different job posts that I've done. Out of those 2, which do you think was more effective? That one? Why? It gives you a lot of information, right? What are you doing? Hey, this is a driver position. That's what I'm going to be driving, right? So if you have different positions, kind of give some sort of clue. It's easy, it's catchy, it's grabby, all that stuff. But I actually had some pretty good one on that one too. And finally, I got my head together and said, one, I'd combine the 2. So if I get this thing.
I have a question for your post. You say no qualifications needed. So are you putting them on when after you hire them?
So which one?
On your post, you said drivers wanted, no experience needed.
Right.
So are you doing all the training once you hire them?
Yes. We had to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we have to. So that's, same boat. So we have a full CDL training. We pay for 100% for it. We only have a few stipulations. We try to keep them on a certain length of time, and we make them pay for the first driver test. So we will pay for the more expensive of the 2, which is only a few bucks, but it's a lot of work. So our drivers, it takes a month and a half to get someone on the road, because the chance of finding a CDL driver, with past endorsement especially, so it's no, that's all good. No, I'm glad for the question. So sorry, I want to show you. I got too many sites open now. Sorry, Kayla, I'm shutting you down.
I want to do it again, though.
So here, that good-looking family there. I'm not biased at all, but okay. So what happens over here is if, of course, it refreshes. So if we're playing around here on our Facebook, here's our groups. Just show everyone kind of something like that. So if you look over here, like some of the top sites, Utah Job Network, Job Hiring. But you can actually look for your posts. And then just learning how to use the sites is, keys. So here's my group activities. And that's what my post ended up looking like. Kind of cut off there. So I put the blurb up top and said, here's the most important. Here's our cause. We're supporting them like this. you can see more. So like when you're posting your job, how does it look? How does it look on the page? So if it doesn't look right, change it. So I would post just that, and I get a little bit, but as soon as I put the two together, kind of like Kayla was talking about, it's like you give them a little bit, and if they're going to read more, then they can expand it and say, this is more what the details are. So then they can call, they can text me, they can message me. So that's my work number, not my cell phone number. I'm not that dumb or that crazy, we'll say. So, but people can email me, that's fine. So, but once again, if these people were responding, I was fast. I remember messaging one of my drivers. It was 11 o'clock at night, and we had literally texted back and forth for about an hour. By the time the conversation was done, we had an interview set up for the next day. It was fast. It was not delay. But once again, speed is the key. Okay. Any questions on Facebook? Anything like I just want to say, so like if you create a business page, just so you know, it takes time for those builds. Like you can, great, but a lot of people don't want to follow a transportation site. I'm sorry, we're not that exciting. You can create some things like this, but get likes and follows is hard. And that's where those make a pull on there. So just be careful on that. But I did, show how easy. Like if you're in an area that doesn't have a Facebook group, so like Utah County, Provo, Orem, I'm in a pretty big area. There's lots of job sites out there, right? But if you're like a more rural area, there's not one out there. If there's maybe some yard sale sites, things like that, don't be afraid to make your own. Literally on one slide right here, I showed you how quick and easy it is. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this because it's not that big of a deal. But literally in 5 steps, you can create a Facebook page. You can create your own group and say, hey, this is drivers of Utah County. You call it whatever you want. Drivers, community action, whatever kind of page you're looking for. You can create it, add pictures, and monitor. Just remember, you have to be monitoring these things. Make sure people are accepting, you're kicking out the spammers and all that kind of stuff. It is a lot of work to manage your own Facebook group. I will, especially if it gets big. So, but it's something, if your community doesn't have it, be the one to take charge of it. So I will.
But Gary, how many volunteers do you have?
Volunteers? We have about 12 volunteer drivers right now.
How many paid drivers?
We're 28, I think, right now. So we just hired 6 new drivers. So Kevin back there, my trainer, has been really busy the last couple of weeks.
Is it
Nonstop.
easier to get drivers now for you?
It's been easier than it has been. We've had to make some changes like this, recruiting, things like that. Indeed was our best bet on this last round for sure. But what's interesting is now that we're doing more digital marketing, our drivers have changed. We used to have a lot more older drivers, like second career drivers. Now we're getting a lot more college-age kids, things like that. So it's interesting how it just kind of changed. And so the training process is actually a lot easier with the younger generation, the marketing. So
you're not getting ghosted as much on your interviews then?
we still get ghosted a little bit, but it's not as bad. Yeah, we're instead of being like 90% ghost right now, we're probably like 40%. So here's the other thing is when you're doing your online applications, and this popped up in my mind, I thought this was one of the most interesting stats that I saw out there. It's like 92% of people are not finishing the online application. I was like, you're looking for a job. How do you not finish this online application? I have an 18-year-old daughter right now who's applying for jobs, and I asked her, did you finish this application? Did you finish that one? No, why not? Oh, I can't figure this out. I'm sitting there going, it takes 5 minutes to finish an application. And these are big companies too. These are like the ones down like Target and Costco and things like that. She's not getting the applications in because it's too complex. They're not completing the applications. 92%. So if you need to take a look at your application process. So the candidates today are less willing to spend time completing job applications that require excessive information and have repetitive or overly complex questions. So watch your online application process. Okay, so make sure it's quick and easy. The average time they say, about 4 minutes for an application. If it takes longer than that, you're losing people. 4 minutes, isn't that crazy? I was like, it can't be that long. So, okay, make sure you're not doing, creating user accounts. Make sure you're creating passwords, things like that. No repetitive questions. Reading the same data that's on the resume. If you're doing that, just resume one or the other. And then don't make sure they identify their data twice. And then also, if you have a question, audit. fill it out for yourself. See how the application process goes. How smooth and easy is it? Okay? Have family, friends do it and see what they think. Change different demographics. So if you have an elderly person, have them fill it out. Have a college kid fill it out. Try to audit your online process to see how smooth and easy it's going. Because I guarantee you're going to find some flaws in it right now. Okay. The last thing I want to get into here is employee incentives. So this one's always kind of fun because employee referral program is usually we get our best hires from the employee program most of the time. Okay. But a lot of times people are always afraid to invite family and friends to apply. And there's reasons for that. But what kind of incentives? Basically, I want to know what you guys are doing. Who has a good employee referral program right now?
Salt Lake County, we have an incentive bonus in place. It's biannual for staff, whether you're merit or non-merit. So it's based on incidents and abstinence. And, why the budget allows, which now is through 2024, we put that on our hiring site, that there's a bonus incentive involved with employment.
Nice. I like that. I've not heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah, it works really well, and it's also obviously helped us retain staff because it's biannual payment.
Yeah, so even if it's an extra month or two, to give them stay on a little bit longer to say, hang on, that bonus is coming.
Sorry,
No, that's all good. I like it. So,
UTA has one as well.
what's UTA's bonus? Or
$1,000 if you refer somebody to hiring.
it's $1,000 for if they refer someone that gets hired on. How long do they have to work there for to get the $1,000?
I think it's 6 months. It might be 6 months.
6 months. So I can't work for like 3 days and then leave. Christmas is coming, people. I gotta on there. What are things like that? So if one of your employees refers someone else and they get hired on, or not even hire, what is the incentive to actually refer them? So UT has $1,000. That's pricey. That's for a nonprofit like us, that's pricey. Okay, what other things can we do?
Give days off.
Say it again.
Get creative, give them extra days off.
Extra days off.
I think too, one of the employee benefits you're doing, which we do the same thing and it's a risk, right? Basically you're paying for that CDL. And for these drivers, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It can be, it's a risk you take though, because if there's no penalty for leaving, like they can come get the training and maybe go find a job that pays $2 or $3 more an hour after they've used you for the free training. And that is a pitfall in this industry.
Absolutely.
They have to stay a certain amount of time before they get the, and, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's hard because you can't lose them. Like we've had drivers come in and work for us for like 3 to 6 months and bail on us to go somewhere else that pays more. Yeah. It's hard because they're offering $22 an hour, we're offering 18. Like
you
that's.
Don't have some type of agreement with them that you have to stay a certain period of time.
We talk about it. I don't have anything in writing. Okay. And so trouble is like at the point when you're getting hard out to find employees. I'm trying not to scare people off.
So are you really saving money then because they're coming, stay with you for a month or two?
It's happened to me twice in the last 2 years.
I didn't.
Out of all of the applicants I have, so it's a small number so far. So for us, it's minimal. If it pops up higher, that's something we definitely have to reevaluate and make it more like in writing and like a hard line on it. So that's the reason to me, like what we found is when they go get their CDL test, there's a written test and the driving, like the pre-trip test. If they do the written test, we make them pay for that. Because that to me is a commitment line right there. They're dropping $70 to take that written test. If they don't want to do it, that's when they're going to jump because they don't want to spend their own money on it. So that's why we do it the way we do it. So just find out things that work for you guys.
I'm just going to say the UTA sort of incentive program is, it incentivizes the person who's making a referral because they get portions of it the longer the person is retained or stays there. And so, I mean, if they stay a year, they'll get a couple thousand, right? So it's the person who's referring is the one that has to try and sort of.
Well, it makes them help. It gives them that incentive to help them stay. Like, oh, what's going on? Oh, you're not happy? Why? Yeah.
I need you to stay because I need $1,000 essentially.
Yeah.
Which is nice. mean, it makes, like, if I were recruiting somebody, I'm gonna make sure it's a person of quality, right?
Right.
Because that's the other thing. These are my coworkers, this is who I work with. So, for lack of a better term, I'm not gonna have to be flaky to go apply for that job. Because again, you want the bonus, plus I want to look good amongst my peers, you know?
Yeah, I always ask when they're referring somebody, I said, would you stake your job on them? And so that scares them off a little bit. It's like, well, I wouldn't stake my job on it. It's like, but you might want to take a look at him still. You're like, okay, I'll take a look at him, but it's not, it's not a shoe-in usually if it's a strong referral. So.
I can't remember where I worked, but the person said, like a person referring got a bonus, but if the person that they hired stayed a certain amount, then they got a bonus.
Yeah. So like, yeah, so there's a incentive like that. So what we do in ours, we have an incentive. We hire them at a lesser amount, and as soon as they can put their CDL training, they get a raise. So something as simple. So they go through like the 2-month training process, and as soon as they complete and get their CDL, then we give them $1 raise, bump in pay. So the savings of that $1 an hour actually pays for all their training. So it's kind of a simple way. So we were paying them at $18 anyways, but we'll hire you at 17 because you don't have your CDL. As soon as you get it, we'll bump you to 18, and they're all excited about it. So just a little incentive, just how you work those angles in the recruiting process on there. So just remember, gift cards, like preferred, like especially drivers, prefer to work driving schedules because we have split shifts, things like that, and say, listen, I'll give you a straight through route for a week. Maybe it's a month. Maybe give them some holidays off. Use the things that don't cost money because budgets are tight. We don't, wish we had UTA money of $1,000. Shoot, I'd refer a lot more people. So, do you have a question?
I was just going to say, I mean, for the most part, a lot of our operators do travel quite a bit just to get to work. So one of the things that we're working on is exactly that, scheduling, right? And looking at 10-hour blocks, right? That way it sort of reduces the amount of time that they're actually sort of at work for, right? Or actually not time, but days.
Yeah.
They're 4 days as opposed to 5, or whatever the case may be. But I think part of this also is sort of building a really solid and good culture within your organization and sort of, retain people, right? So that you're not going over to pressure of constantly sort of replacing operators.
Yeah, because people refer people, it's a good place to work. And so that work environment that you create as a manager makes all the big. So we talk about in here, there's this enhanced employee program. It's like the referral program and boosts employee engagement. And that's, sorry, that thing is on there, but apparently I put that slide on there twice. It's so important I put it on there twice. I didn't even realize that. Go me. So, okay. Well, this is, we're almost out of time. So, the interview and hiring process. Once again, so we're talking about 92% of people drop off. And we're over there being aggressive on our, Facebook posts, things like that. On Indeed, we're responding fast. Indeed's the same way. I didn't really say that earlier, but if you're responding faster on Indeed, make sure, within the first couple hours on Indeed, once again, people don't respond. Like you get them fast, they respond. If you don't, it takes a while to get back because they're active that time. So make sure you have different ways. So like phone interviews, panel interviews, video interviews, practical interviews, however you want that. So some of the interview process, just so you know, I want to talk about some things we do just because I'm trying to do a streamlined hiring process. Because most people, if you look on the websites right now, it's advising you to apply to 5 to 10 jobs per day. 5 to 10 per day, that's what they're saying if you're looking for a job. So a lot of jobs these people are applying for, except entry-level positions, some of them entry-level driver positions, they've applied for 20 other jobs in the last 2 weeks or more. Okay? So if they have something going on, they stop. So if someone calls an interview, already found something. There's been times I've done that. Call them, already found another job. Thanks for the call, though. Move too slow. Okay? We want to hire good candidates, but at the same time, we want to make sure the process is going through. So when you're saying, hey, when can you set up an interview? Oh, I'm out of town. Hey, let's do a phone interview. You got a few minutes? I got you on the phone right now. Okay, let's set one up for 2 hours. Be aggressive about that. Hey, listen, I want you to go. The panel interview, I always say, just to help set things, I always try to have a minimum of 2 people in my interviews. Try to, keyword. So that way you get a second opinion. Okay, so you've been getting some good solid quality hires. Video interviews, doing those Zoom interviews, Google Meet interviews, they work, give you good insight, and then take the next step. How many of you guys ever do a practical interview? Everyone know what a practical interview is? Yeah, all right, so I get to teach at least one thing today, something new. So practical interviews, this is a job you're doing, right? So if you're going to be a driver, how can you give a driver what it feels like to be a driver? We throw them on a bus. We literally set up a time and say, okay, hey, listen, I like you. I think you might be a good position too. We want to give you the opportunity to see what this job actually is. Can you be here tomorrow at 7 a.m.? Yeah, that's great. Okay. Or can you come back today at 2 o'clock? We'll even do the same day, depending on what time the interviews are. And we'll put them on the route for 30 minutes to an hour. And they actually, when they come back, yeah, I really liked it. And I literally had one person, broke my heart, but basically says, you know what, this job is not for me. I can't handle people with disabilities. I was like, that was a great catch. Thank you for telling us to be upfront with this. There's the door. Move like that.
I was just going to say, I really like how you worded, we like to give you the opportunity. You make it feel special or like they're a select person, and I think psychologically that's really...
Yeah, it gives them, yeah.
Have you ever had anyone request to be paid during their practical interview? I know there's a large push like on social media right now for companies who are requesting practical interviews and their candidates to...
No, not at all. And that's never even come up, stuff like that. So it's a good question. I mean, nowadays, you never know, but honestly, it's something that could be a pop-up. But honestly, I would just say it's part of the interview process.
Do you run into any liability issues with them not being like a volunteer or an employee, but they're...
No, we've checked that out, and they said it's fine as long as, because we're insured and all that kind of stuff, so when an accident does happen, our insurance would cover that, because it is public transit, things like that. So they're really just about, it's like, so we actually just say, just sitting back and enjoy the ride and just kind of watch how the driver engages, and you can talk to the driver, and it gives them a chance to talk to our driver one-on-one. It's like, feel free to talk to the driver and say, learn the ins and outs of this job and see if you actually enjoy it. Okay. So the driver can tell you, like, honestly, and we try to pick our happiest drivers that they drive with, let's be honest. So they get a good experience, so they get feedback, say, oh yeah, this is great, and this thing, and then some even say, yeah, the only hard part is holidays, weekends, that kind of stuff. So I just remember, like, I always emphasize, like, saying move fast, but I don't want you to ever do the wrong hire. Okay, so it's essential to move fast, but make sure they're the right fit. It can be a costly mistake if you don't, right? It's a higher turnover rate. You have to learn how to balance the speed with diligence to ensure that your new employee contributes positive to your organization's success. So when we're saying that is, go fast, but don't think about it still. You have time. If you're throwing out job offers fast, great. Just make sure you have that second interview, the practical interview, whatever process you put in place. But my word of advice, hire fast and fire faster. Because unfortunately, we all know that negative person, the company can ruin the whole thing. And let me tell you, like, when I first started my job, there was 2 of them in my driver pool. And let me tell you, every time we try to change anything, it was hard to make it because they were complaining about it left and right. Every single thing, oh, that's terrible, and they come in, it was literally fighting every single day with these people, trying to get them just to do simple things, shifts chains, working holidays, all that kind of stuff. It's like, no, everyone has to work a holiday. Sorry, that's just how it is. So that's kind of the whole thing. Is any questions, comments, any other tips, tricks? Like, honestly, this could be open forum because this is what time we can share. So is there any other?
So one of the things we do at Salt Lake County as well is we go over the job description in detail. Because sometimes they'll apply for the job, but they really don't read the details. They're looking for a job. And this helps us to filter out the people that, after really reviewing it step by step, the physical requirements, weather conditions, type of vehicles they're driving, some of them will back out and say, it's not for me. And in that way, we're only pursuing the people that feel that they can do the job.
Yeah. 2 things that we filter a lot of people out is asking if they can kneel down and actually secure wheelchairs. That one surprisingly knocks a lot of people out. So we actually in a like the phone interview, we ask that simple question. The second one we always ask is, do you smoke medical marijuana? if you want to have your CDL license, you can't smoke medical marijuana. Like, I understand it might help you out, but you can't drive on the federal transport. So,
Do you have a lot of people say yes?
we've, how was it, 3, 4 now in the last like 2 months? Yeah. 3 or 4 people in the last month. And literally we went through the interview. We forgot to ask on the phone interview. So we get through the whole interview. It's like, oh, we like this guy. And all of a sudden, oh, did you ask that question? No. And so that was like, we just wasted an hour of his time, that interview, because, he wasn't getting off either. So it was like, oh, well. So any other questions, comments, outbursts? All right. So that's all I have. Thanks, guys.